Sunbelt Billy done did it. Credit to the man. I loved, he had an interview with Molly McGrath. He was, he was really honest. He was really passionate. He said they love you when you win and they hate you when you lose, but they can't stand you when you lose. He might not have said hate. He said, I've got a conditional relationship, with this job. That's somebody who's been through the hot seat and come out on the other side with some scars. He's got a very clear-eyed view of the way that this game works. But he credited his team, and his team has strung together a couple of wins at home against competition that makes them feel good about themselves. And the Florida Gators are 6-5, eclipsing their win total. They are bowl eligible, but there's also the Ole Miss of this, because Ole Miss was sitting inside the top 10. Ole Miss, because of tiebreaker reasons, was not in a great position to make the SEC championship game, which even prompted Lane Kiffin to tell reporters, hey, it might be good not to play in the SEC championship game so we can get ready for the playoff. Oops. To be fair to Lane Kiffin, because I had to write about this for CBSSports.com on Saturday, his actual quote says, I've been talking to other coaches and we've been saying it would be better to not play in the SEC championship game, be 10-2, rather than take a third loss in the SEC championship game and risk getting left out.
He really took that to heart.
Listen, the context will be lost. All we're going to remember is that Lane Kiffin was like, yeah, it might be better not to play in the SEC title game for a program that has never, and this is, SEC title games only been around since 1992, but 0 SEC championship game appearances for Ole Miss. You had red zone opportunities. You dropped the ball. Jackson Dart threw the ball to Florida.
Threw it away.
Yeah. It was all right there. Mississippi State is on deck next. I mean, just waltzing out of a Georgia win to a 10-2 record was right there, and yet they tripped over their feet.
Yeah. I mean, listen, Florida, be happy about it. You killed somebody's season. You've got reason to be optimistic about the future. DJ Lagway is looking pretty damn good. He's looking like he's going to be something for you in these next few years. But Ole Miss lost this game more than Florida won it.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, they had the 3 turnovers, and they had 3 red zone possessions. And you know how many points they scored on them?
Isn't it 3?
0.
Yeah.
3 red zone possessions, 0 points, 2 turnovers. And, if you look at it, Florida didn't get any points off of those turnovers. It's just the fact that it's not that they gave Florida points with them. It's they took points away from themselves. And when you lose by 7 and you have 2 red zone turnovers, it's not really hard to figure out whose fault it is. And, Jackson Dart had the 2 interceptions. Just that was a game. And you look at Ole Miss had 124 more yards. They averaged half a yard more per play. They had the ball not much longer, but defensively, they weren't incredible, but they played fine. But they just gave the ball away in the red zone, and they gave the game away while doing so. And they gave away their SEC hopes, and they probably gave away their playoff hopes. It was just an awful day for the Rebels.
I got yelled at, but I was, yeah, sure. I was glad because it meant that I'd connected the right dots. Because 9 years ago, in November, Ole Miss was playing against an unranked team. And they were in overtime. And they had the opponent on a 4th and 25. And Hunter Henry catches the pass, about a 16-yard pass or so. And as he's being tackled near the sideline, just decides to, I'm just going to one-handed hurl this thing backwards about 12 yards. The ball bounces. Alex Collins, again, remembering some dudes, picks it up and runs for a first down to convert the 4th and 25. Arkansas proceeds to score a touchdown, convert the 2-point try to walk it off in overtime with a 1-point 53-52 win.
Who was the coach of Arkansas that day?
Brett Bielema. Well, more on him soon. Don't worry. Much more on him soon and his decision making along the way. And it was so often that you always hear Ole Miss fans discuss like, hey, listen, if it's not for that crazy Hunter Henry play, we would have been in the SEC title game, which is true. You had one conference loss already, but you had a head-to-head win against Alabama. And because Alabama and you were both like clear of the rest of the pack, things were looking like Ole Miss might be able to win the SEC West spot in the SEC championship game. But you know what? Ole Miss had already lost before that Arkansas game. And I had forgotten this because Ole Miss had lost to Florida in the swamp as the number 3 team in the country. Since Ole Miss beat Tim Tebow in 2008, leading to the Weepy Promise, ever since the Weepy Promise, Florida's 3-0 against Ole Miss, including 2 wins against the Rebels when the Rebels were a top 10 team.
Another win for Tim.
Doing it for Tim. This is history rearing its ugly head for an Ole Miss program that has been successful but fallen short. This is the banana peel. This is the Charlie Brown football. This game is the one that is going to sting so deeply for the dentist, for Swag Kelly, for Dr. Bo, for the gas mask, and for everyone that loves Ole Miss.
Sorry, Bunky.
I mean, sorry, Bunky, too. This sucks. Because you were right. Ole Miss lost this game.
Yep. Very much.
And now, like, you've got 3 losses, all to teams that are probably not going to be ranked in the final top 25. And that team is not, like, everyone talks about, like, oh, what's the 3-loss SEC team that's going to ruin everyone's day in the playoff? I'll tell you which one it sure as heck ain't going to be. It's going to be the one with all 3 losses to unranked teams.
Yeah. That's irony. Ole Miss finally learns how to win the big one and then loses the little ones.
And that was the other part of it that I wrote. I was like, and all of this came after your biggest win since 1970. All the SEC titles, all of the national championships that the university claims are all before 1970. And you'd beaten Georgia, the highest ranked team to ever lose in that stadium, Vaught-Hemingway Stadium. Dang.
You blew it.
Blew it.